Hello YouTube fans, here again, and I figure why not do this one, why not? The Fly from 1958 versus The Fly from 1986. Actually, I don't mind both of these. I've got to admit though, I've got to admit for once, and a lot of people will agree with this one, that the remake was a lot better. The remake was a lot better, but I respect the remake as well. Because when you think about it, there've only ever been two that have been similar. There've only ever been two what's in my eyes have been similar. The one for okay, anyway, the pod, the Fi. That's about it. That's the only thing you're thinking. But the character from the 58 one had a different name from the one itself being Death Boom. So we're gonna go with the Fi. So the 1958 one and the actor, you may or may not know this, appeared in a TV show beneath the forest of the sea. Pronounce it right there. Beneath the forest of the sea. And you probably remember him very well known for playing Felix Leiter. And for anyone who doesn't know who Felix Leiter is, he was a character who appeared in that through the Bond movies. He also had a different actor play him. He was like a mate of Bond. He worked for the CIA. Well, this actor appeared as Felix Leiter in Live and Let Die, and he also appeared a lot of years later in License to Kill. So he played Felix twice. Sad to say he's no longer with us, but he's been in loads of films, and he was the one who originally played the character who later becomes the Fi. And the difference is he's married, he's got a little boy, he's got a wife, he has that experiment, and you don't see it. And halfway through the film, it's a guy with a bag on his head. I'm not making it up, it's a guy with a bag on his head. It's only nearly at the middle, nearly at the end. You get the fifth film, we've all remembered it. The guy with the five head on his body, her steaming, hysterical. Then later on in the film, help me, a little die, spider's about to eat him. Everyone remembers that scene from the classic 1958, The Five. And let's not forget, it was also taken off Playboy. Not talking filth, it was a little small arc or two story written in 1954 on Playboy, and then in 1958 they advertised it to a film. Now we get to the 1986, The Five. Dave Oldenburg, the one with given us films that say like Syphus and Stannis and Video Dome, decided he was going to remake The Five. Now normally this was back in the era before we have 101 fucking remakes, so this was a guy who got a film, took a chance from 1958 and made it his own. And this is a film I even know I love the 1958 The Five. It's your typical B sci-fi monster film. It is dated. It's outdated. You know, the machinery, the technology, it's all 1950s, so I can't do it. The acting, not bad acting, but it's that typical 1950s style of acting. We get to the one with Jeff Goldblum, brilliant actor. He was at that time doing a lot of comedies. He still was, you can tell, he's been in films. I mean, we all remember him being in the original from 1974, Death Wish. Been in loads of films, you know. He was in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the 1978 one. And this was a film that I'd say started his career. Not only that, it started Geena Davis' career. You know, so it was at that time, he was only doing comedies and stuff like that. This was a big break for to star in this sci-fi sort of horror movie by Jeff Goldblum, The Five. And again, I like the pods. I like the fact that they're both in machines. You get to see it this time. He comes out normal, totally opposite from the 1958 one where he had the bag on his head and the five head. And he slowly changes. Them effects, them practical special effects. How I miss them practical special effects. I do know there was a lot of deleted scenes in The Five. There's a scene where he kills a chimpanzee. There's a scene with Geena Davis. That's a weird dream. That's just having this baby put a fire. I'm not happy they're not in the film. It's interesting to see, but I'm happy they're not in the film. Because the film, I think, is a love story. It's a tragedy story. It has a sad ending. Normally, I hate films with sad endings, but in this occasion, I went with it because I think we served that ending. I feel it preserved it. And you know what I mean, them practical effects, how I miss them practical special effects. How I miss them. When you use a practical special effects, I like it's a computer, I like the story to it. If people look like the 1958, the 5, like a tacit, I've got to admit the 1986 one by Dave Boom is more so. It is more a tacit than that. So it's one, it's in comparison, I think they're both good. I think they're both good. I respect the 1958 one for what it was, so fuck it, without a 2. A 3-star rating. You don't make films like that anymore. But I've got to admit that the 1986, the 5, the Death Golden Boom one, the hell with it. An 8-star rating for me because they don't make films like that anymore. They don't. You know what I mean? With the 5, 1989, they made the sequel, the 5 2. Kind of like in 1959, they made the sequel, Return of the 5. I'll probably talk about them comparisons another time, but the 5 from 1986, the 5 from 1958, the hell with it, I'll do it again, why not? And an 8-star rating from the 1986 one. To me, it's how you do a remake the right way. It's how you do a remake the right way. And I have heard rumours that Dave Golden Boom is planning on doing another remake of the 5. Happy to say I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't want to see another remake. I feel myself, this film being the 5 from 86 was how you do it the right way. The practical effects, the bit where Death Goldblum has that arm wrestling in the bar, he snaps that guy's arm. I love it. I love the bit where he's talking about the chimpanzee, the one who turns inside out, and he says that line when Dina Davis speaks to him. I love that line, I really do. You know, the scene where she says to him, talk to the Tamner, get the swing of it. What are you thinking? Fuck is what I'm thinking. And it's a date scene. I mean, you feel for that character. As Seth Brundle, I just love the character. You know what I mean? You feel for him and he's changing. I like that his characteristics are changing. His face is changing. His looks are changing. The bit when he pulls his nails off. One thing I noticed about the film, his personality changes. He's hyperactive at one moment. He's bad tempered at another. He thinks he's Superman, but he's not. You know, he's changing, and that's what made it unique. That to me is what made it different. With the 58 one, it was a typical B monster film. You knew straight away. Even Death Golden Boom said this in an interview back in '86. It's a guy that comes out of a pod. I know it is. It's a guy with a bag on his head. Now I've got to admit, the performance and the acting was pretty good. You know, the bits where he's tapping on the wall like that. And the bits where he's taking the bag off his head, but then you've just got to die. The film, you've got to die with a fire's head stuck on his body. Wow. The 80s one, I love the way he changed. I love the bit he turns into a monster at the end. And Dina Davis has to make the ultimate sacrifice of blowing his brains out with a shotgun. Everything about it I love. So I like them both. I like them both. I like it for the story. I like it for the idea. I like for the imagination, and I look for the special effects. But into them, be smart, be safe. See you later.